this isn't correct.
Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3.
so we'll start the meeting. Please stand, flag salute.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our board secretary, Ann, is out of office, so Dr. Bregan can wear two hats today.
I don't know.
Yeah, roll call, please.
Mr. Shi,
Here.
Mr. Mohan Patel, Ms. Pang,
Here.
Ms. Conway,
Here.
Dr. Chen,
Here.
Ms. Podofsky,
Here.
Ms. Matagor,
Here.
Ms. White,
Here.
Mr. Biro Patel.
Peter is not gonna make it, he's not feeling well, so,
Okay.
and Mohan, so we'll be a little late. Opening statement, the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Edison Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Board of Education administrative offices. Copies of these notices were sent to the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger on January 5th, 2021. The public may participate at regular meetings in accordance with the bylaws and applicable state regulations. So, all right, so we're gonna go through our agenda items. Dr. Bregan, take it over.
Sure. First up we had was a public hearing on the violence and vandalism report that's contained in the agenda there. As you can see, there are not many incidents of violence or vandalism. It's something we have to report on a biannually basis, which is twice a year. So the reporting you see there is from January 1st of 2021 to June 1st of 2021. It's not really much discussion there because for the first 3 months we were totally remote, and for the remainder of the year, from March 1st until the end of June, we only had a small portion of the students that attended on site on a regular basis. So I don't think those numbers are great for comparison, or they are significantly lower than they would normally be at this time. So in accordance with the code, we have to have a hearing on that. The data is submitted there for acts of violence and vandalism for a total of 5. If there's any discussion on that particular thing.
Yeah, we have because this is the, public hearing, so people have any comments for violence and vandalism, you can come to the podium. Violence and vandalism only. See none? We're gonna move on. Dr. Bregan.
Okay, if we go to the resolutions there's a number that I'll walk through. There's a ratification of the memorandum of agreement with the custodial and maintenance unit for approval on that. It's a 5-year contract that the negotiations committee worked hard with the negotiations committee from that unit, and we're putting forth that memorandum of agreement. Next up is a resolution recognizing American Education Week, November 15th to the 19th. This happens to be the 100th year of celebrating American Education Week. And then after that, there's approval of the emergency virtual instruction plan as required by the State Department of Education. Should this pandemic reemerge and necessitate that we have a fully remote instructional program, we have to have a program in place for the state's approval, and that's contained in this agenda, and will be a resolution to approve that. After the approval, we submitted to the Department of Ed. It's basically similar to when we were fully remote for those periods of time last year, the same schedules. After that, you'll see there's 3 resolutions related to our hockey program, approving the cooperative that we've had for a long time, approving the memorandum of understanding with our parents, as well as approval for the hockey rink rental agreement. After that, we have our memorandum of agreement with Middlesex College, and I think what's worthy of note there, whether you're in our early college program or taking any dual enrollment courses at Middlesex College, whether it's 2 credits, 3 credits, or 4 credits, the total cost is $125, which is a significant savings than it would be if you went to enroll in the course, as a student upon graduation. So that's great, and we're really excited about that partnership. There's also an approval for a company called Right at School for before and after school services. Right now, that's to provide any additional services that currently the Recreation Department cannot handle. We did hear from our PTOs there was a bit of a backlog, and they were overloaded in some areas, not due to space, which somebody mentioned at one of our recent board meetings, but due to personnel. So we're approving another vendor to provide that service if the need is there. School bus emergency evacuation drill. They have to be conducted twice a year, and what's contained on the agenda is and they have to be approved. Those are the ones that have taken place so far, and the approval for those bus routes that were evacuated under the supervision of an administrator at the school, should an emergency occur, are listed therein. Approval of the YMCA service agreement for the Edison High School and John P. Stevens swim teams. We need to have pools and the rental agreements for the use of the pool. And then the last one under that is the policies that were introduced at our last meeting. This is a second reading for those new and revised policies. Under curriculum instruction is a traditional, like we normally would, is approval of our student field trips, as well as our professional development for staff. Pupil services, we have our out-of-district placements that gets updated on an a monthly basis, as well as our professional services agreements for those related services, approved vendors that we're adding to our already list of approved vendors for 2021 and 2022 school year. Do you want me to go right to finance?
Yes,
Mr.
please.
Yes, please.
Can I ask a few questions?
Yeah, sure.
So I just had questions on the emergency virtual instruction plan. My first question is, the 5 points for quarantining students, does that remain the same, or has anything changed?
Could you speak into the mic? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry. So my first question is regarding quarantining of students and staff. We have 5 points there on page 2. Are they the same as before, or has anything changed?
It's the same. Nothing's
It's the same,
changed.
okay. The
Yep.
second question I have is, if somebody is sick, because I imagine now you're providing like a full day of remote instruction, right? And not just the 1 hour.
Correct.
So my question is, if somebody is sick, not because of COVID, but maybe broke a bone or something else, does this apply to them also? Can they also join into this remote instruction?
It's a great question. If somebody was on a traditional home instruction for illness, or as you said, a broken bone or leg or arm, or God forbid anything else, they would be entitled to traditional home instruction, right, which would be for special needs students 2 hours per day, general ed students 1 hour typically, depending if there was different circumstances. But what that plan is really geared towards, if the district had to be fully remote,
Okay.
so then that student would get remote instruction for the full day as if they would with all the other students.
Okay, so this is just if the whole district goes remote for 3 days?
Correct.
Then students are going to get this?
Correct.
Okay, so I
In case of a state
misunderstood
of
that.
emergency where we would have to go fully remote, the state wanted us to make sure we had a plan in place that we could transition to and, from our experience in the last 18 months, you guys are well aware, that wouldn't be that difficult for us at this point.
Okay. And then I think just one more thing. It says for students who attend in person, establish attendance policies. I think these need to be updated. They're not updated on the website.
Fair enough. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll take a look at that.
That's all.
Okay.
And just one question on the Middlesex classes. Does this apply also to summer classes, or this is just the for credit completion of the associate's degree?
That's a really good question. Some of the summer classes, I know students take those classes in order to catch up with some classes they may not have taken. I have to follow up on that. I don't want to misquote it.
Okay.
I want to say I think so, but let me find out for sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Dr. Bregan for curriculum before we move on, and the other stuff before we move on to finance? None? Okay, Dr. Bregan.
Okay, in the finance resolutions, you'll find there's a number of things there. Obviously, approval of the minutes, the investment report, traditional monthly report of the board secretary, and the report of the treasurer of school monies. Contained within there are a number of financial resolutions. And the first one is a number of account transfers, just to balance out the accounts according to the utilization. After that, there's special education, special ed Olympics grants for $20,000, $10,000 for JP Stevens High School, and $10,000 to Edison High School. Kudos to the team for putting that together, and their supervisor of health and physical education. There's acceptance of the ESSER 2 grants, which we applied for. That's an acceptance of the monies, approximately $4.7 million. There's also acceptance of the IDEA, American Recovery Plan Grant, ARP. for approximately $900,000. We're denying the tent rental bids, not because we don't want them, because they came in significantly over budget when we put the bid out, and they also weren't able to accommodate all of the schools that we wanted the tents for. So I think Mrs. Matagor mentioned at the last meeting, we're trying to see what the feasibility would be for us to buy our own structures and have them somewhat permanent at the schools, and we're still looking into that. The problem is there's a lack of availability for construction materials and things right now. There's a shortage everywhere. So unfortunately, I don't think I'll get a quick turnaround, but that's what we're doing on that now. There's an approval for the late bus bid to provide late bus services to our schools. There's an approval for the co-op bid for gasoline and diesel prices, which we traditionally do. We're also approving the use of Monmouth Ocean Ed Services Commission for transportation routes. Our first resource is to go to the Ed Services Commission of New Jersey, which is mostly geared towards Middlesex County. But sometimes, especially with the shortage, they can't accommodate those requests. So we're looking to seek approval to use Monmouth Ocean Ed Services Commission as well. There's 2 change orders for the Lincoln addition. At this time, whenever there's a change order into the project that we've signed on for, we have to get board approval. Those change orders are related to plumbing and steel, and at this point, there's no increase in price for either one of those. And for the plumber services, they've actually changed vendors to have a local vendor provide that service. There's a resolution for non-public technology initiative programs allocation, which is typical we would do for the non-publics, or afforded certain monies from the state and federal government that transition through the district. This happens to be for technology for one school. We have a list of our obsoleted items that are no longer of use. And then we have our approvals for electronic transfers and the bills list. Now you notice the electronic transfers is something new because we typically would pay these bills through traditional bill payments, but now that we have electronic transfers, we put that on for board approval as well. And then the transportation report lists the routes that were both rescinded and the route renewals that were approved. That's all I have, Mr. Board President.
Not bad, good job. Okay, now we are open for board member comments. Any board member comments? So we're gonna start from that side, Shivi.
I just had a question for Dr. Bragan. What's the update on transportation?
Well, that's a really good question, and I'm sure that's on a lot of people's minds, so thank you, Ms. Matagor. Currently, right now, all those transportation students who didn't have transportation due to those dropped 50-plus routes in the beginning of September, they're all being transported now. So what the mission is now, and the 8 buses that we rented from the Somerset Ed Service Commission are in use as well. So that helped us combine some routes for the smaller buses to larger buses. And our transportation department, as well as our bus drivers, has been really great in trying to accommodate all those. Right now, they're attacking the subscription busing routes, and that's basically those people that applied for subscription busing, which, as you know, is if you're within the prescribed distances where we're required to transport, you put in subscription, and if there's room on the buses, we will get you that service. And we're going through those right now. We had almost 2,000 requests for there, so that's where we are now.
2,000 requests?
Yeah, about that.
Okay, and would you have any idea about when?
You know, a number of parents have asked that, and, you know, I probably have a more definitive number perhaps next Tuesday, because our supervisor is coming on Monday, and we're going to meet with him actually tomorrow to go over things. And, you know, Mr. Benedict's doing a great job, but he's doing a bunch of different things at one time. So right now we're in a triage mode, which is dealing with the most pressing problem first. I'll try to get a definitive answer for our meeting on Tuesday with the timeline.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay. Dr. Chan? Okay, Shannon?
No.
Okay, no.
Sure, yes, thank you. Board President, and first of all, I want to thank the Superintendent, Dr. Bragan, in the tremendous job you're doing with the transportation as well. We're just 6 weeks into the school year, and to accommodate for what has happened nationwide, it's tremendous that you're doing a great job on that right now. And we could do better, but we will continue to do that. Second of all, I want to congratulate Woodrow Wilson Middle School for being the #1 in the district, and also being recognized as the 29th in the nation out of 844 schools, to be in top 50, right? So first of all, I want to congratulate them, basically. And great job by the principal, Ms. Blevins, and the vice principal, Renu and the staff. Absolutely, and the staff as well, and the kids and the parents as well. So that's it for me, for now.
Okay.
I know I'm very quiet today.
Mrs. Cowell.
Thank you, Mr. Shi. I just wanted to give my plug. Since the last meeting, I attended the J.P. Stevens Band Festival, and as usual, it was a phenomenal event, and my hat goes off to all the staff and the students that participated that evening. It was a great turnout, and as usual, our two schools were way above the others in my mind. They were all excellent, but of course I'm prejudiced. So I thank all the people that had attended that day, and hearing what other parents had to say from other districts. J.P. Stevens and Edison High have such a fabulous, what's the word I'm thinking of? Reputation. Thank you.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay, Carol?
I did not get to attend the J.P. Stevens band competition or the Edison High this year, but at least with J.P. Stevens, I feel the percussion in my living room whenever they're out there practicing or performing. So I always get to experience it. And we used to just think there was something wrong with our house when we first moved in until my daughter was in the band. And then I said, oh, she's at band practice. That's where the drum line is. Straight line to my house. So, and the other thing I wanted to mention was item 1B, American Education Week, which was always one of my favorites when I was home just being a parent before I came back to work, because that was our chance to go in and see what was really happening in the classrooms. I don't know in today's conditions whether that will happen, but it always is a nice time to celebrate public education. And the purpose of American Education Week is to honor the individuals working to ensure that every student receives a quality education, which they do here because of our staff, all of our staff, and our families, and our students. But I noticed tonight we were approving a lot of different resolutions about things like the ice hockey parents, the Middlesex College providing college courses in our school, the new group providing before and after care, and all these different things, and the buses that have come together, and now we're having busing, good, effective busing for our students. As they say, it takes a village to raise a child, and there's been a lot of groups, and they all just happen to be in the agenda, maybe to highlight American Education Week, I don't know. But it just caught my eye that there's so many different groups that take an active role in educating our students, not just those of us here, and it's a good thing because there aren't too many of us here tonight, but it's one of my favorite times of the year because all we're doing is saying that the students, the parents, the teachers, the bus drivers, the YMCA, all those groups, and the ice hockey, because I remember students of mine that were in that first group that did that. It's everyone in this town pulling together for the schools. And that's what makes it great, and everyone in this country. So I love American Education Week, even if I don't get to go in and visit the classrooms.
Hi, I have to echo Mrs. Conway. That was my first band festival, and I loved it. It was just beautiful. J.P. Stevens, they were excellent hosts. They did a beautiful job. Their choreography and their music was like outstanding. Edison took the prizes. They were just, they were just as good. But I have to say that the parents of these kids, the parent groups are just phenomenal. They work so hard. I mean, that's an all-day function, and they are there from the beginning to the end. I mean, you just can't say enough good things about those parents. And they support their children, and the children are so lucky to have them. But while I'm doing this, I do want to mention J.P. Stevens volleyball. Okay, we have Laurel Zakaria. She is leading an all-time assists. She's the leader in the county, or in the state, I believe. 1,506 assists. And that was against Piscataway, and that was as of October 8th. And we're still counting because they're still playing, and she's still doing magic. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have to echo, both of them for the band. I think four or five of us were there. Mohin was there, Mrs. White, Mrs. Conway. Shivy, were you there?
Band festival?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, it's not only in your mind, Mrs. Conway, Edison School was good. They actually won the prize, right? The Edison High School won the biggest prize, the overall performance of that day, and they won 2 other categories, I think. So, the investment that we're putting into these arts program really paid off. You just hear the beautiful music. J.P. Stevens is the host, so they're not getting they're not getting awarded for that. But it's a great program. I actually have 5 questions, and Shivy took one of the questions about the transportation. So Dr. Bragg, you only have 4 questions, okay?
All right.
Okay, so the 2 questions are very related. This is about the fields in our school, this especially about Woodrow Wilson fields. The soccer field, I actually was there over the weekend, was not flat, and there was a lot of uneven. And the kids were playing soccer over there. I think kids got hurt when they were playing there. And also, this is also related to the folks who play cricket. When I was there, I saw the goalpost got moved to the end. And we have seen pictures from the principal that the goalpost has been just flipped over and so on. So this is a question about that, comments about the field, about the cricket teams, okay? And the other 2 questions is the clubs. And actually, the people, when we actually have a meeting on Tuesday, you will see we have a lot of appointments for the clubs in the schools. And it says why participation is reduced to 1 in elementary and middle. It's with a big student population, a big interest, it's a little bit hard. The people want to get into more of these clubs, okay? The 4th question is about pickup and drop off. And we heard a lot of complaints from parents about the safety concerns with the students, especially, during pickup and drop off time. I was in Ben Franklin, I think 3 weeks ago or a month ago when I was dropping the stuff. That was right at the starting of the pickup time. And I saw some of the cars that's parked. That's not what they're supposed to be. So if you can comment on that, about the pickup and drop off, the club participation and the field, especially in Woodrow Wilson.
Sure, great. Well, this year, the school system took over a lot of the coordination with the cricket teams, and I think we had about 60 teams that were using our fields in a variety of locations, including the field at Woodrow Wilson Middle School. So we do need to have a meeting. We actually have a meeting scheduled with some of the representatives from the teams, as well as our cricket committee, to go over, after the seasons have gone on and they've taken place, to get some feedback and some of the things that we have heard about at Thomas Jefferson Field as well as at Woodrow Wilson. Is some of the field status as far as the goals being moved and not put back. Maybe some of the trash has been left around and not necessarily cleaned up, and some of those things regarding the field use. And we want to have our fields available for our community. They are our fields, meaning the entire communities, but they have to take care of them, and they have to make sure we're not compromising any of the field space for our students, which is our ultimate goal. So I'm happy that we are having a meeting. I know the cricket team, the cricket committee, we talked about that, and we're going to meet with the representatives from the teams, and we'll address those concerns, and I'm sure that will be able to come to a successful resolution. Regarding the field, particularly at Woodrow Wilson Middle School, I think that warrants our attention, and I think that's something we want to talk about at a Finance and Facility Committee meeting if we want to look at some long-term investments there, such as potential irrigation with sprinklers and things like that, because the grass, it's a large area, if you know that area, it abuts back up to the woods that lead to the Woodbrook Elementary School. And it's mostly crabgrass. And if you know anything about crabgrass, and I'm not a landscaper by any means, but it kind of grows in clumps, and there's no way to make it even.
Yep.
So when the kids are running around for soccer or for cricket or other sports activities at phys ed, there is the potential there, to twist an ankle or do something like that. So I think it's worthy of a discussion. I think that's a larger discussion than I could weigh in on, but we bring it to the Finance Committee, see if they want us to explore an option for that field to get irrigation, and then we could seed it properly and maybe have a level playing field. If that's possible, I think we should have that discussion on that.
Okay.
Regarding the clubs, it's been an ongoing concern. The elementary schools typically have between 5 and 8 clubs. Some of the clubs are like yearbook and things like that, and they're standard every year. And then we also have the opportunity to have a few pilot clubs each year where you can pilot out a different club, and if it gets a certain degree of participation, it then transitions to a type A club. But there aren't enough clubs for all the students that want clubs. So we try to limit it to 1 student, because if Bernie wanted to take participation in all 5 of the clubs that I had an interest in, that would then not allow Jerry to participate or Shivy or someone else, because I was in 5 of those clubs. So we do try to limit it because of the limited availability of clubs to 1 club per person, so that more students can have access to those activities. So we'll look into that, though, and I did hear there's some inconsistencies that all the schools don't do it the exact same way. So I think that's something we want to look at to make sure we're all doing it the right way, and we're doing it the same way, because we don't want someone saying, well, at this school, I can participate in 3 clubs, and this one I can only participate in 1. So we'll take a look at that. But really, the idea, if we could somehow in the future work with the board and the association, the Teachers Association, and maybe develop more clubs and fund those, if there's more interest for more opportunities, I think that's something worth exploring as well. And I think the last one was the drop-off and pickup.
Yeah.
One of the problems with drop-off and pickup is we have a lot of students and a lot of staff coming to our buildings, and often on roads that have one way in and one way out, right? Herbert Hoover Middle School, Jackson Avenue. Woodrow Wilson Drive. Grove Avenue, there's one way in and one way out for the most part for John P. Stevens High School, right? JMI complex, all 3 of those schools, you got one road in, one road out. And it creates a traffic issue and a traffic pattern that's a problem for many of our schools. That's been exacerbated this year because of the busing shortage and transportation issues that we had that put more parents in cars driving their students to school. So we're trying to manage all that. And within that is some of the dismissal procedures for some of our schools. We had to change slightly depending on the traffic. It would take longer or shorter than it normally would because of the increased number of cars and people. So we'll look at that. And that's really a school-by-school basis, because every school is different, right? Lincoln Elementary School, the drop-off and pick-off is going to be very different than Ben Franklin, just because of the access and how you can get your child to and from the school. So we'll review it with the principals. If parents have a concern or an issue, their first line of, their first person they should talk to would be the building principal. Yeah, I think maybe we should look at doing it this way, doing it that way. Either directly to the principal or through the PTOs. And we'll try to come up with solutions that work best for everyone, that we can get all of our kids, our students, and staff into school safely, get them home as safely as we can.
Okay, thank you. And the other thing that, I saw some comments about getting police to work with the schools and stuff like that. The issue is that, first is crossing guards. We don't have enough crossing guards. Well, I think it's 60 spots, and at one point, police only had like 30 people at patrol at one time or something like that. So that's shorthanded to start with, just for crossing guards, and to tell them to get on additional duty to work in the parking lot, it's a little bit tough for them. So, just Dr. Bregan said, we're working with the principals and try to see if we can, make it a little bit better.
Yeah, that's a great point, though, Board President Shi, too. We're also working with the police, Sergeant Turner, as well as now Deputy Chief Dudash, on working and getting more crossing guards. And one of the things they requested was, could they meet with and have access to some of our lunch aides that work during the middle of the day that maybe have availability in the mornings and afternoons. And we did facilitate a few of those meetings already. And they didn't get 20 new crossing guards, but they got 1 or 2. So that's a step in the right direction as we move forward. And if anyone got a chance to watch on News 12 yesterday, our SRO officer, Detective Williams at John P. Stevens High School, is known as the dancing police officer, as she's directing traffic on Grove Avenue. If you didn't get a chance to check that out on Google.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll check that out. Okay. That's good to know. All right.
Jerry, I just
Yes.
had just one follow-up question on the emergency virtual instruction. The 3-day closure, what would trigger it? And then I have another question, which is, would it be district-specific or school-specific? And my third question is, could we have multiple 3-day closures?
Yes, yes, and yes. No, I'm kidding. Any closure, no matter what it is 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. Obviously, if it's something that's more significant and longer, that would be depending on the impact of the virus in the community, and we would take direction from the state and local officials for that. A shorter thing would be dependent on the rate of exposure and the rate of the spread of the virus within the schools, if we considered it a school outbreak. And that would necessitate a close, that we would do that in consultation with the Department of Health, and we work really closely with JL8's office. If we saw that that was happening, we would, obviously I would talk to the Board of Ed, but we would do that on a school-by-school basis, because if the issue is centralized, let's pick a school to, John Marshall Elementary School, it doesn't make sense to close JMI because of that, right? We haven't experienced anything similar to that, that would even come close to that, but it's there in case that happens.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, any other board member comments? Okay. See, now we're open up for public comments, okay? So before we actually open up for public comments, let me just reiterate that they have 6 minutes, or 6 minutes your time, and there's no back and forth negotiations here, okay? So you ask your comments, you ask your questions, we'll answer your questions, okay? One person at a time, and that's it. So Maria?
Hi, thank you. Maria Orchid, 83 Jefferson. First question is, I didn't know, what are the updates of the tents for the lunch program? I'm having an event, not this Saturday, next Saturday, 2021, trunk or treating at Lake Papiani on October 30th from 9:30 to 12:30. Everybody's invited. On October 16th, this past Saturday, we had the Edison Basin cleanup. Like to report that we had 55 volunteers and again, several bags of trash. We'd like to do this on a more permanent basis every couple of months. We're looking for student representatives for our green team, Edison Green Team, and student representatives for our environmental team. Wanted to know, is there an update on the esports? And October 23rd from 1 to 4, Harvest Fun at the Thomas Edison Center at Menlo Park, 37 Charles Street. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. The 10 update, Ms. Orchid, there was a bid opening we had, and the bids all came in higher than what we budgeted, and they weren't able to meet the needs of all the schools, so we rejected that bid. We're actually looking to get permanent structures that we could use outside our cafeterias, and we're exploring that route. I don't have a proposal or recommendation yet, but when I do, I will bring it to the Finance Committee of the board, and then we'll go from there. Regarding the esports update, I debated whether today we should walk the Board of Education down to that space because it's about 85% complete. So we hope to have, when our next board meeting is here, it'll be fully operational with kids participating in esports activities. And I would hope to bring the board down there and to show them it actually in action with students actually utilizing the games, devices, and what's going on. It's about 85% complete is what I got from Mr. Barker actually this afternoon. But it's progressing nicely. There was a delay, as many of you may be aware, with technology issues, with getting chips and things like that. So some of the software and the hardware, it was delayed in getting it installed.
Yeah, about the green team, environmental team stuff, if you can send Dr. Brigg an email, we can probably, forward to the schools looking for volunteers and stuff like that. Okay? Thank you. Yes, Sue.
Susan Campione, 8 Schiffer Court. Just a few comments. One, we were mentioning administration at Woodrow, so I don't want to leave Nick Sakino out. He's also a vice principal at the school, so shout out to Nick. Just a question, the before and after school care that's on the agenda. Being that there's a shortage of people to care for the kids, it's not the space. Just a thought to put postings out for non-certificated paraprofessionals. I know that they've stepped up many times and done the breakfast program in the morning when they were short-staffed. So just an idea, if we need people there already in the schools, they know the kids, it might be a good alternative. Just something with the transportation that just my thoughts that maybe it's time we start looking outside the box and, years ago we changed time for school, but maybe staggering sometimes because I could tell you that I live probably 4 minutes from the school I work at and it took me a half hour to get to work yesterday. The traffic is just really, really bad. So I do notice that on half days, because there's a bigger span between the dismissal for middle school and high school, that the buses are on time and the traffic doesn't seem to be as bad. So, I don't know, but maybe adjusting some of the times of schools might help. And the other thing I wanted to mention is on Saturday at Menlo Park School from noon, I believe, till 3 o'clock, the ETEA is hosting a trunk or treat, and many teachers are bringing their cars decorated, and we'll be giving out candy. There's a DJ, a fire truck, and the kids love it. They love seeing their teachers dressed up, and so if you're not doing anything, it's supposed to be a pretty nice day to come out, and it's on Sunday, I'm sorry, not Saturday. And it would be a fun time.
This week?
It's
This
this Sunday from noon to 3, I believe,
Thank you.
at Menlo Park.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for suggesting before after care program. We'll look into it. Okay. So anybody else? Yes. Okay. It's your turn. Come.
Oh, no, I said there are more people. I want to go a little bit.
Oh, you want to be the last one?
I'm sure Tony wants to speak. That one, but
No, Venkat raise his hand. Venkat, come.
Good evening, everyone. I don't know, Jerry, that whether any questions that I'm going to ask are already answered. My apologies. I just came late because of the traffic. There are 3 questions that some of the parents would like to get answers. Number 1 was, a couple months back, a parent came here, and I think he addressed to Dr. Bragan that his son broke his back because the baseball field was not in a good condition.
So the question I asked is the field condition in Woodrow Wilson
Yeah.
and the cricket team that's playing that. So Dr. Bragan already addressed that. And yes.
And being an Indian, I am full support of cricket, and I really one of the biggest supporter of it. The only thing is try to choose the credible teams to get that with proper screening and others. So because we don't want to stop the access to the public grounds in a meaningful way. So those who has a wrong intent, those who wants to really cause BYU more money, so should be penalized. So I think, form the, procedures or the processes, whichever is needed to make sure that everybody is accommodated, but no, damage to the, school fields. The second one is, I think midterm for the first marking period is over. And, I would like to congratulate the entire admin staff and the teachers and the supporting staff. And my personal experience with my friends and family is there is a whole lot of difference of virtual versus in-person. I was skeptical of the in-person. I was not happy initially when the decision was taken. But I think both from the physical, emotional, and other aspects, the kids are doing much better. And I know that some parents may not be happy with it, but I think I truly changed my perception of remote to in-person now. I think this is what, for more than a year, not acceptable. I think I'm really thankful for the decision that has been made to make it in person. And I think the learning curve has improved compared to last year. Last year they got the grades, but their subject was not as much as it's supposed to be. But now this year they're also learning very well. I think 3 times more than what they were learning last year. And I don't want to, bring the ethical charges on anybody, but my request to the board is that let any ethical charges come in, but I think first we need to see whether that member should be able to face them and give them the explanation, whether it is real, what they believe it is. So they cannot divert everything to the law firm. I see the law firms has been hired, the lawyers has been supported. So my only question, I know the answer, is you guys have an insurance. So any Board of Ed member ethics charges filed, please try to answer yourself without using the insurance. I don't know whether insurance costs the BOE, you guys already paid for it, that's fine with us. But make sure that, we don't want to engage lawyers and ask the school insurance pay for it. So that is something that I felt. And coming to the buses, I think buses are on time. And I think my daughter used to come 10, 15 minutes late, and now she's on time by 3:20, 3:25, she's at home after middle school. So it shows that they're coming on time. There are no complaints that we are seeing it. And I think Dr. Bregan, you and your team should actually pat your backs that for great work that you guys have done. I think there is still few parents that are not happy, but compared to 7,000 students and around 30,000 parents, pretty much there will be some people that will not be happy. But overall, I think, you guys have done a wonderful job, and hopefully, this momentum will continue, and, past November elections, so we all will be out with this entire political mess, and we'll focus back on the school rankings, school grades. So I'm glad one thing that I think, since I have 1 more minute, this board needs some discipline. And I know I don't want to name anybody. I think collectively you as a team. So I would like to endorse openly here for Tingle, the serviceman, and he deserves a place over here who can be a role model to this team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to answer any questions? Or?
Just one thing, I think Venkat mentioned in the beginning about the parent who spoke was referring to the baseball field. And that turf field that JP Stevens is, we do plan to get that up and running. We're still waiting for the Department of Environmental Protection approvals. The initial proposal had it completed beginning of the summer, which is obviously late for the season. So we're going to see if we can get it done quicker, but we are still planning to move forward with that.
Yeah, I think Dr. Bregan shared the schedule last time when we had a meeting. We plan to submit the plan to the department by the end of this month. We're expecting approval in January. Then we'll go through the bidding and all of that process. Okay. All right, Crystal.
I'm actually asking
Oh.
about the ethics charges. Who's paying for it? Yes, the question.
The district has the risk insurance, and the insurance lawyer depends on the issues. The insurance decide whether they want to pay for it or not. Thank you. Yeah, you can go.
I want to look my tyrants in their eyes. I want to know why Mr. B. Rao Patel is not here. He's going for re-election and he doesn't want to show up, just like Sam Joshi. They're all the same. During the Board of Education special meeting for B. Rao Patel's corruption and criminal activity, you remember that meeting, Dr. Bregan. Sam Joshi's campaign tried to bribe me with 500 signs and $2,000 cash. Specifically, Sam Joshi's uncle, Bimal Joshi. That's what they claim, but why is he so ashamed of who his family is? Do your own research. So at the end of the day, I want to let them know that even though they bribed me not to come in here and expose Mr. B. Rao Patel. David Wildstein, GOP, Hitman, Democratic, DNC, fake news, is now promoting a frivolous ethics complaint that this man filed. I filed a very real one. But I'll get to that in a moment. Subject, more trouble for B. Rao Patel. Due to radical behavior in Edison Board of Education, ethics violation, B. Rao Patel, Edison Board of Education member and running candidate, is crossing all lines, limits to win the election by wrong ways, but is caught by the judicial system. In the late July and early August, Rao Patel spoke to Dr. Bragan on multiple occasions for hiring another BOE member's daughter as a teacher in the district in exchange for that BOE member to resign from the board and withdraw from the November election. He told Dr. Bragan that without the BOE member in the race, his chance of winning in November 2021 will increase a lot. Dr. Bragan told him the district found another extra teacher because of enrollment changes and this position is no longer needed. He still requested Dr. Bragan to hire other BOE member's daughter. Dr. Bragan informed the BOE president of the uncomfortable conversation he had with Burrell. Edison School District has non-nepotism policy, preventing hiring current BOE members' relatives. The state has a very strict policy about hiring sitting BOE members' relatives. Burrell was using his position as a BOE member to pressure his subordinate to hire someone to benefit himself. Burrell, it went away. I got 3 minutes left. I'm going to continue on Burrell. People in this town go nuts when you expose Burrell. Burrell was interfering with the hiring process and influencing his chances to win. 2 minutes? It's all right. I'll come back for rebuttals, Jerry, but 1, in early August 2021, Edison School Board member Mr. B. Rao Patel, who was running for re-election in November 2021, pressured Edison School District Superintendent Dr. Bragan to hire the daughter of another Edison BOE member, Elizabeth Conway. Ms. Conway is also running for re-election in November 2021. 2, Board member Burrell Patel told Dr. Bragan that he wanted him to hire board member Conway's daughter as a teacher in Edison District in exchange for Ms. Conway's resignation as a school board member and withdraw from November 21 election. Mr. Burrell Patel told Dr. Bragan that if Ms. Conway was not a candidate in the election, it would greatly increase his chances of getting reelected. 3, board member Burrell Patel continued on at least 2 additional occasions to make his request to Dr. Bragan about board member Conway's daughter. This occurred even after Dr. Bragan informed him that the position Ms. Conway's daughter applied for was no longer needed due to excess staffing. Thus, in addition, the original inappropriate request, Mr. Burrell Patel continued to improperly pressure Dr. Bragan to hire Ms. Conway's daughter, even after he was told the position was not needed. Dr. Bragan was so disturbed and concerned about board member Burrell Patel's comments and multiple requests to hire the child of another board member, he informed me, so whoever wrote this out, early August 2021 as board president, oh, you wrote this out, Jerry, of the uncomfortable conversations he had with Burrell Patel after review of the matter. I feel it is my fiduciary obligation to report these statements and actions to the School Ethics Commission. So, are these filed? My ethics complaint got filed and pushed through. He even had to hire a high-priced lawyer. I want to let you know, on the public record, I called Burrell's lawyer, and I told her that she's asking for an extension to respond to me. I give these criminals no extension. I handed Mr. B. Rao Patel the ethics violation, and he knew he had 20 days to respond. He refused to respond. And I let this lawyer know that if she accepted money through Burrell Patel's election fund or Sam Joshi's election fund or the Middlesex County Democratic Organization, I'm going to file ethics charges on her with the Bar Association and have her lawyer's license revoked. Thank you.
Yes, Tony. Yeah, Tony.
Tony Tusqual, 2 Pine Street. So I want to read something to you all, just in case you have not heard about this. So the School Ethics Commission today moved forward with a complaint against Edison School Board member Jerry Shea for supporting a mayoral candidate, something which the ethics law prevents school board members from doing in their official capacity. In the complaint, DePasquale charged that she had used his official office to support Bagia and also had campaigned for him, which would also fall under using his board position for friends. She filed, this is important here, she filed a motion to dismiss DePasquale's complaint in August, saying that the complaint was frivolous and that he endorsed Bagia in his capacity as a private citizen. But the School Ethics Commission's action today denies Shea's claim of frivolity and sends the complaint forward to the Office of Administrative Law. So 2 things I want to say about this. First thing is, the reason I believe that the Ethics Commission moved it forward is because I submitted valid evidence for this. And if anybody does want to see it, I'm happy to provide it to you because I have it all. And it is valid, it's all there, and I would be happy to provide it so you can see it. Second thing is, 2 speakers ago said about using, board members should not use the attorney or the insurance for ethics violations like this. And I just want to let everybody know that the first response about this ethics was from Mark Law, which is the firm that the board uses for their lawyer. And yes, I do have proof of that also. So again, I think, yes, Mr. Shea, you should have taken that suggestion that the speaker said and not use taxpayers' money to defend something that you did. Because that's what you're doing. You claim that I wasted taxpayers' money. The Ethics Commission disagrees with you because they moved it forward so there's a decision on that. Second thing is, since I'm offering the proof, I would like to see the proof that you have against Mr. Biro Patel. That's what I'd like to see. I have no problem letting anybody see the proof that I offer because it's real proof. Why not show us the proof that you have? Again, the Ethics Commission, when you file these, it says on their website that they really would like you to keep the complaint quiet until it goes to them. But yet, Mr. Shea, this ethics complaint that you did was filled out. Well, I mean, it was not filled out, but it was stamped by the Ethics Commission, which means that you took your name out of the form and leaked it to somebody so it could go on the internet. Again, I have no problem saying that I filed an ethics complaint, but again, you have the form going out to the public without your name on it. See, I'm not ashamed of what I do, because I have proof when I do things and I say things. Okay? So, you say that, oh, and you've said this on social media, you're going to lose. No, Mr. Shea, I haven't lost, and I won't lose, because what I do as a resident and as a citizen, it is my job to hold you all accountable. That's what our job is as residents. And I have to also bring up that I found out also that you called NewJersey.com for them to do a story on Mr. Biro Patel and your ethics complaint. So let me get this straight. There's an election coming up. You have a special meeting a month before the election. You make it a big deal. So the next ethics complaint I file Can we have a special board meeting just for that? And then you call a newspaper and you have them to do a story? And you believe that this is a valid complaint? We have no proof, number one. Number two, you call the newspaper yourself for them to do a story on this. What does that show? That shows that you are and continue to be the most political person on this board. And yes, you did. You did, because I will even tell the people, one of the proofs that I have, 4 hours after your poster was put on the internet, you liked it. You liked it, which means you approved of it, because hours later is when you said you were called out for it. Yet hours before, you liked it. So your bogus story about, oh, I didn't know about it. Well, you know what? You did know about it. And again, I have the proof, and if anybody wants to see it, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
You still have 32 seconds if you want to finish.
Excuse me?
Accountability and transparency, a real leader right there. Everyone should know about the corruption in town. God bless you.
Okay, so I really don't want to comment on this because ongoing investigation, but the thing that Tony accused is absolutely wrong. I did not call the newspaper, okay? I did not give the paper to anybody else. You should ask other people how many times they send the paper out for legal advices, okay? That's my comment. Thank you. Next.
Manesh Patel, 240 Wallman Avenue. Thanks, Moin, for tapping for me. I need the clap because idiots like you who keeps doing stupid stuff that's going on the camera, just watch your mouth and stay quiet. Jerry, two things I'll tell you. Last time when I talked about J.P. Stevens, Dr. Bregan did do some work and they did get calls. I'm sure they send you the bill, how much they need for that school. That's one thing, and I thank you for that. Somebody just earlier said the school buses are coming on time, they're doing everything fine. I still would say take a couple of more weeks before you tap your shoulder, because in North Edison, where I live, Wallman Avenue, there are still complaints, all right? The other thing is, Jerry, karma just followed you very fast, less than 4.5 weeks. And the judge says, let's go to ethics. So learn a lesson. Mohin, you're not too far from it. It's going to fall on your butt very soon.
I'm waiting.
I know you're waiting. Mohin, I believe you are about 30 years of age.
46, actually, I just turned on October 4th.
Thank you very much for correcting. That's what I needed. At age of 46, you should understand and behave like a gentleman. Behave like a person who you've been hired. Stop being an idiot who you go like this to people.
Thank you, thank you.
You clap, the things you do. Jerry, can I ask you, isn't this back and forth? And you're not stopping this?
You called me an idiot, so I'll respond to that.
You got
Yeah, right away, you know what? You just prove it to the cameras, the people, that you are an idiot because if somebody call you an idiot, you don't answer back. You wait for your turn and you answer it. All right? So
I'll answer
please,
after you're finished.
please, stop taking my minutes because then I'll request more minutes. Learn that. He was talking about a couple of things, which I liked it because he pointed out some of the great features of our country. He talked about you, Jerry, in the way Bill did this, Bill did that. Did you, as a chairperson or the big boss of this BOE, there's not one person involved, there's 3 persons involved. Ms. Conway, did you take her statement? Did you put that on the ethics board? You haven't done it yet. And the other one question I have is, last time in J.P. Stevens, 3 people asked you a question. Did you file the ethics? One was Tony. One was a councilwoman. I was the third one. And you say you did. You know what? You lied to the Board of Ed people who's sitting in J.P. Stevens High School, and all the parents, because you filed it 3 days later. And believe me, I will be taking this up again in ethics, because now I want to see that the liar caught not once, not twice, 3 times. Thank you very much.
I just want to remind you, when you come here accusing someone, get your facts straight, okay? Wait, listen, my turn. So the stuff you saw is the amended
I haven't accused you of anything yet. All I accuse you of, lying. You know why? Because it's on the video, and I took that, and that is based on that, I'm filing the ethics against you. Because it's in the video.
Go ahead.
Okay, and
Go
then
ahead.
the ethics, when they take it, they stamp it, brother. So that's where you're getting wrong. Learn that. And about my dear friend Venkat, when he came up, he asked you a question. You have a thing called no back and forth. Why the heck were you doing it? Isn't that civil rights issue when it comes to all of us? When Tony speaks, you don't want to do it. When I speak, you don't want to do it. When Councilwoman was doing last time, you stopped her 3 times. And I have all that written down. But when Venkat was talking, you didn't even let him finish. And you start going back and forth. I think that's his civil rights too, brother.
So watch the video yourself. The councilwoman stopped her conversation and started the conversation. What I spoke to Venkat was 3 of the questions I asked Dr. Bragan were from him. So when he came over, he said, I came in late, my question has already been answered. I just respond to him what I have answered. As far as the stamped date on the as far as the stamp date on the ethics complaint, that's an amendment. That's an amendment to the one that I filed earlier. So get your facts straight before you come over and accusing me a liar, okay? Feel free to file ethics complaints and let them tell you when the first time the ethics was filed. I actually have the email, and when the amendment was filed. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you.
Everyone's
I don't
done.
see anyone raising hand. I don't see anyone raising the hand. Wait.
Yeah, he does.
Wait, do we have anyone who's a first timer who wants to come? See none? Your turn. No, he just walked in, I didn't see him. No. Hey, I'm calling the meeting. Let him sit, okay? He has his chance. Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Manish, he is responding to the question that where 2 kids got injured, so I didn't want to waste the time. So that's why I asked that question, number 1. So as a friend, I'm fine. Will you shut up, please? You shut up. This political broker, Mr. Tony DePascal, a dog at Sam Joshi's house, begged for the position. He's a beggar. He really is a beggar. He stays as a security guard at mayor's office, and he begs for literally anything. He sucks anything. Doesn't matter.
Please.
Calm down.
That guy is a library board member, doesn't have a dignity. He doesn't have a dignity. He doesn't even have a shame. He feels proud. I don't know what kind of feeling that he gets, a sadism or a psycho. When I'm asking for the kids' benefit, this guy is laughing. He's trying to question it. He make a joke. He doesn't even have a balls to question the library architect. He is there to protect Sam Joshi's architect. He's a corrupt fellow.
Okay.
He's a library board fellow. And this guy is asking, questioning BYA.
Let's take that outside afterwards, please.
Let's take it outside.
Yeah.
Let's take it
You stop
outside.
I didn't stop you. Bro, you
Please.
stop it. If they don't know about it, that guy has no right to stop me. He's trying to harass me. And he's a public guy. He lost badly in the public in the BYE. Doesn't have a shame. He put his nephew in the school IT area.
Okay.
He doesn't have a
All
shame.
right.
He is such a shameless guy. If you pay $100 tomorrow, he will go and vote for you. And he will go and take opposition things for you. Such a shame to the town. He's a polarizer. He should be removed from all the positions. I don't know what Sam Joshi has seen in him to make him a library board person. I think that's all. I still have 1 minute, Jay.
Okay, let's concentrate on the school board
He's
thing.
harassing every time I come here. Why is this coming? I didn't go and beg Sam Joshi to give me a library board position.
Becca, let's just concentrate on school issues and keep not getting interactions.
If Mr. Bagia gave $500, he will be Santa. The next day, moron, he's a moron. For $500, he can be a Santa. The next minute, he can be a moron. Yeah, I didn't disturb you, brother. I'm telling you. If these guys are calling legality, if these guys don't understand, I will teach them what the legality is. If he has a proof, let me tell him that just because somebody admitted, just because there is a benefit of doubt, that doesn't mean that it has a merit in its case. Ask him to have some patience, dignity for 3 months and 6 months till the verdict comes in. If somebody is using the school board, I don't care. If Biral Patel is actually stealing a sash, I don't care. If Biral Patel is actually, helping people, I don't care. But if Biral Patel is helping another BOA member for political benefit, I do care. It's called nepotism. Ask him to learn what is nepotism in the first place. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, your turn. Let's concentrate on the school issues. You have your time. Come to the podium and speak right now. Yeah, so while he's getting his paper, let's get somebody else. Who want? You don't need the paper, okay.
Everything Venkata said is true. Tony DePascal is underneath Sam Joshi's desk.
Don't get into the audience, okay.
Tony DePascal is underneath. Excuse me,
Guys.
This is my time to speak public comments. Tony DePascal is underneath Sam Joshi's desk, and God only knows what he's doing down there. This man
Can you
sold
keep
out.
the topic on the school board
This
and
man-
take your personal
Crystal,
stuff outside?
Public comments,
Take it
you're
outside.
stealing my time.
Take it outside.
You're hijacking my time, it's
Crystal,
public comments.
take it outside. Take
It's
it
a
outside.
rebuttal, I'm not taking
Take it
nothing outside. He needs to apologize to Sergeant David Tingle for cyberbullying, cyber harassing a military veteran, a police officer, because for doing his constitution, he doesn't agree with what David Tingle says, so he's harassing him, like Sam Joshi's campaign harasses many residents, like Sam Joshi's campaign is using the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office, possibly members of the Edison Police Department, to maliciously prosecute me, in hopes to keep me arrested until
Please be
November
careful when you
2nd.
accuse something.
Excuse me, stop interrupting my time,
No,
sir.
you're accusing people. Just hold it off.
It's my time. It's my time. You know, I don't know if you're doing it to me and Venkata, why you're hostile to us and you let these guys get away with it. The last time this man said racist comments, anti-Chinese comments with Paresh Joshi, this is the same people that was there when they tried to bribe me to keep my mouth shut and exposing Mr. B. Rao Patel. These are criminals. These are mafia members. And, they're going around threatening members of the community, intimidating members of the community. And think about this. Sam Joshi has the auto win. A piece of dog crap can win on the Democratic Party line. And they're still going out and targeting people. He's going to win anyways, and he's targeting people. He's targeting the Tingle family to remove them as committee people, Edison Democratic Organization. They're targeting me because of the campaign commercials I'm doing against Sam Joshi. When is it going to stop? Who's next? If they're targeting military veterans and Edison police officers, forget about me. People just don't even care when I'm getting targeted. When you're so powerful, you can target a military veteran, an Edison police officer. You got the Middlesex County prosecutors to do whatever you want, because these are the people that appoint them to their positions. Are you aware they put a warrant out for my arrest because over 90 days ago, I called somebody a princess who was harassing me during my campaign commercial over at Yanuzi to show the contaminated property that you Democrats have been covering up for decades? God bless Venkata. God bless Venkata.
Okay, Tony, your turn.
Tony Pasquale, Pine Street. So I would just like maybe Mr. Shi or Dr. Bragan to clear something up. Because as far as I know, a resident can't hire anybody for the school district. Like that's, the administration does the interviewing and then the board approves it. And I keep hearing a lot that I gave my nephew a position in the school district. And I'm not sure how I was able to do that because I don't hire anybody in the school district. So, if nobody wants to answer it, that's fine. But again, the mystery to me is how does a resident hire somebody in the school district? So that would be my question. And if there's no answer, that's fine, because I know the answer, but I think the public should know maybe how the process does work in hiring people. So, thank you.
Okay. Dr. Brigham, you want to say a couple of things about our policy and the state policy regarding school board members?
Yeah. The hiring of all candidates for every job in the district goes out to an advertisement, typically via the Apply Track process. And then there's a committee put together that's going to go through those applications and then put together an interview process. Typically, it's a couple rounds of interviews. And then the final round usually culminates with myself and Dr. Aldarelli. And then if we think the candidate is viable for the position, we recommend to the full board. And we go to closed session tonight. We'll talk about personnel recommendations for Tuesday's meeting. And that's the process. And that's typically the way it goes for every candidate. And we have not deviated from that since I've been here in December 2019.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
Dr. Bragan, would you elaborate on that? Because last time when I spoke to you, we had issues with some teachers. And you said we need to hire more teachers. Anybody you know from J.P. Stevens kids who would like to work, let me know. Now, can any of your board members request, if they know somebody saying this child or that child is smart, can you look into it? Can you do that? And if you could, if they're hired, are they in the same process that you hired them? Thank you.
Just writing down the notes here because I'm doing both duties tonight. Sorry about that. Can I respond to that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, absolutely, Manesh. Anyone can make a recommendation to me, and people often do that. Hey, I know this guy's a really strong candidate. Why don't you give him a look? And that comes often from colleagues, fellow superintendents, sometimes from board members, sometimes town council members, sometimes from community members, sometimes from people that I've met in my career, 33 years in the field. And for that process, I tell everyone the exact same question. I'm the superintendent of schools. I can't get anyone a job. However, I can get everyone an interview. And I have granted interviews for people who request. Manesh, if you came up to me and said, hey, Dr. Bragan, I know this guy, he's really strong, I think you should give him a look, I'd give him a look. I'd get him in the interview, and I think that's fair. And a lot of times, there's some of the most highly capable candidates that we got that are currently working in our system came that way. But in no way does that mean that somehow the process wasn't done correctly, because everyone gets the same process. And if you get to the interview, you go through the interview process. If you get to the second interview, you go to the second interview. Typically for a teaching position, you then have to do a demonstration lesson in front of a number of administrators on the committee. And then the final interview typically comes to Dr. Aldarelli and myself. And that process is the same for everyone. And we've worked really hard, I know I have, I've only been here since December of 19, to endorse that policy with everyone that I can't get anyone a job, but I can get you an interview. And then if you get it from there, fair enough. And the board has supported that, and I think that's what we've done, at least since I've been here.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other public comments? See none? Can I have a motion to close public comment?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Okay. Mohi and Shannon. All right, so, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so now we're gonna go into closed session. I'll just give Dr. Bregan to write the notes, then,
You want to read that, closed
you
session?
want to read it, or you want me to read
Yeah,
it?
I think I need to, right?
Okay.
Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist now, therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Township of Edison, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey as follows. The public shall be excluded from discussion of and action upon the hereinafter specified subject matter. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows. Attorney-client privilege discussion regarding litigation brought by former employees, Edison Wetlands Association contract, student matters, ETEA grievances, PERC unfair labor practices, personnel matters. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter shall be made public at such a time as needed for non-disclosure no longer exists. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
Can I have
At
a
this time, I
motion?
need a motion, sorry.
Yeah, can I have a motion on that?
Motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay,
Let me just take a
Motion.
roll call real quick.
Mohi and Shannon.
Got it? Roll call for the motion to go into closed session. Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Matagor?
Yes.
Ms. Podofsky?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Ms. Conway?
Sure.
Ms. Pang?
Yes.
Mr. Mohan Patel?
Yes.
And Mr. Shi?
Yes. We
Okay,
do not
so moved.
expect, yeah, we do not expect to come back with any action, so I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Thank you.